Hello everyone, this is Jotto and welcome to Versus Series, where a player from my team, Acebreakers, is put up against a well-known or up-and-coming pro player. Now for this week we have the return of Birdy from episode 1 of Versus Series, and he will be playing against Jonpii from Team Django's, who is a not very well known and up-and-coming team that is really trying to get out there in terms of what they can do. Now before we start, just a quick notice, Acebreakers is currently recruiting. We're looking for an American player and an EU player. So if you're interested in joining the team, then head over to the Hearthpwn thread link that I will put in the description, which is my recruitment thread. I will be checking that at the end of the week, so the end of Sunday. So if you want to join, put it in there. So without further ado, let's get on to the decks. Now, for Birdy, we do actually have a fairly sort of standard priest deck, with the exception of Kel'Thuzad. Now, Kel'Thuzad is from the latest and greatest wing of Naxxramas, and basically, normally for Versus Series, we actually don't use the new wings cards because it's recorded just before the wing comes out, but in this case, it was recorded a day later than that. So we do have access to the cards from wing, is it 5? Yeah, it's 5. Anyway, so the rest of the deck, we do have 2 death, 1 pain, which is pretty standard at the moment, although I think 2 death might be a little excessive. But we do have some other interesting things like Shadow Madness, 1 Earthenring Farseer, double Cabal, Sylvanas, Lotheb. It's a very, very interesting priest list, and I'm very, very curious to see how it works. Now, as for Jonpii, we have the Rienthuzad list, which is doing some crazy stuff with Kel'Thuzad and Death Rattles and Undertakers, Reincarnate, 1 Earth Shock, which is interesting. I think that's a space problem. And then for the Lightning Bolt slot, this deck only wants 1 set of Lightning Bolts, but instead of running double Lightning Bolt, it's running 1 Rockbiter weapon because of Nerubian Egg. So that's a very, very interesting choice. I'm curious to see how it works out. So, onto the mulligans. For Birdy, we have a fairly self-explanatory mulligans where you send back the Earthen Ring because you don't really want it with Injured Blade Master on turn 3, and then you send back the Ball. For Jonpii, I think you just send back everything that isn't Flame Tongue because you don't really want the Earth Shock early against Priest. So, on to the first game. Priest versus Shaman is going to be fairly interesting. We do have a pretty clunky setup from Birdy here. I don't even think you want to play the Injured on turn 3. And he's really looking for a circle. Yeah, he's not going to play it on turn 3. He's doing the classic, the Light Shall Burn You move on turn 2. Now, Jonpii has a bit more of a simple setup where he's got Totem and then possibly Feral into Flame Tongue, or he could also go Totem again into Flame Tongue just so he can save a little bit on his overload, so he can have a Hex, for example, although he could use the coin. I think playing Feral there is probably the better situation. This is much safer, but then the Feral is probably at its strongest early in the game. The problem is Cabal Shadow Priest, not Cabal Shadow Priest. Basically, Orkanai can come down and mess up your day with a circle, but then that baits a circle, so I think playing the Ferals was the best play there. Now we do have the Injured Blade Master coming down here. This will most likely be killed with a Flame Tongue totem. Flame Tongue exactly kills it. You could also coin Lotheb, or you could Lightning Bolt Flame Tongue and then next turn coin Lotheb and then play Sylvanas, which gives you a better curve and also a Flame Tongue on the board. So I think this works out. I think this does work out. Yeah, he's going to go for the Lightning Bolt, and then he's going to probably sack the 2-2 because the 3-1, besides Wild Pyromancer, is actually better against Priest. They don't really have charge minions, so often the 3-1 can actually be better. Now for this turn, I should imagine we're just going to see, the Shadow Word Pain with Wild Pyro. And I think you do play the Northshire. He already played a Lightning Bolt. If he has a second one, that's unfortunate, and it might bait a Rockbiter, because for all he knows, this is a Doomhammer deck. Now, there's a couple of options you could do here. I think coining Lotheb is the strongest one. I I should imagine that's what he's going to do. Just go for the Loatheb. I think that's the strongest play. There's a couple of other options, but none of them are really good. You could go Feral and then Totem with Coin, but that's just awkward. If you coin Loatheb here, you can play Sylvanas next turn. Yeah, he seems to be going with the same line of play. Now, what this does is Loatheb is basically almost impossible to respond to on turn 5 for a priest. We do have the Northshire now. The debate here is whether you want to play Northshire and draw or heal and draw. He doesn't really have that many 4-drops, I think. The only 4-drop he has is Orkanite, but then he wants his hero power open. So I think he might play the Northshire first because he wants Dark Cultist. Or Thoughtsteal. I mean, he can't play the Thoughtsteal, but it's something he can draw into. So he pretty much wants Dark Cultist or Earthen Ring at this point. Yeah, he's going to play the Northshire and then draw. Basically, if he had a lot more 4-drops in his deck, not playing it was correct. But in the case of Priests, because they have Cultists, yeah, he's even debating playing it before seeing the second card, which, I mean, is never correct. But in this case, like, he did wait for the second card, but Cultist is just the best 3-drop you can really play. Now, the Shaman has a weird position here. You could just play Sylvanas. If you play Sylvanas, you don't get the Reincarnate on it. He could also roll Totem and Storm, or use all of his Overload in one turn with Feral Spirit Storm. That leaves you open to Cabal is the problem. So I think Totem Storm is correct. This is a tricky play though. Totem Storm, and then probably kill a 1/1 if it's around. And if it wipes everything, you just kill the Cultist. So let's see how this RNG pans out. Alright, so one of them lived. You should definitely kill this 1/1. Shadow Word Death punishes you if you don't kill the 1/1. Alright, he's not killing it. Alright, he's gonna get blown out by Shadow Word Death, or in this case I think Holy Fire, because you have 2 Holy Fires and the Holy Fire takes 6 mana, not 3, so you want to use it when you have the excess mana lying around. So he's probably just gonna Holy Fire this and then miss the heal for the draw this turn. He does have a lot of cards in his hand though, so the draw is not as vital. Rockbiter is actually pretty important here. You can't Feral because then you have Overload, so you don't want Overload. I think you just Totem. And then probably Rockbiter and attack the 1/1 because you want to steal the 3/1 next turn. Not to mention, if you kill the 3/1 with the Rockbiter, he gets an extra card from his Northshire, and you have to have the option of maybe stealing it, and you really don't want to. You have to sort of hope for a Healing Totem for that to be useful. If you do get a Healing Totem, you will actually probably fatigue yourself. So I actually do think that killing the 1/1 with the Rockbiter is correct here, although it is a difficult decision. Difficult decision, but I think killing the 1/1 is correct. He's debating it. Yeah, he's going through the same thought process I think I did. I imagine he's going to kill the 1/1, although killing the Cultist would not be entirely shocking. Oh, is he going to kill the Cultist? No, he's going to kill the Northshire. Okay. Now, I think he's going to play the Power Word Shield. And I would actually Cabal this 1/1. It's not the best Cabal sort of target, but it definitely works. The other thing he could do is clear with the heal. Alright, so he's going to clear the heal. This does get punished by Sylvanas quite heavily. He's just going to play Sylvanas, reincarnate his Sylvanas, and then he has an amazing board.
I have no time for games.
We're going to see the Reincarnate to steal this Cultist. Cultist is absolutely crazy. Oh, we have 9 mana, and he top decks the Earthen Ring, so pretty much Shadow or Death, the Sylvanas, Injure Blade Master, and then Earthen Ring. You could also just heal your Injured Blade Master, because then he doesn't get the free trade on his Cultist. But then if he gets the free trade on his Cultist, you can Holy Nova it. So it's actually not that bad, and this is probably the best use you're going to get out of your Earthen Ring in this game. Maybe you could save it for an Orkanai. I think that's debatable. This does bait him into playing into Holy Nova, though. As I'm saying, Jonpii with a rather mediocre hand. I think you actually either go Feral Harvest Totem or Feral Harvest Hex, and I think the Hex is better, because if you don't go Hex on the 4/6, you have 2 Hexes, so you might as well use one. If you don't go Hex on the 4/6, he's probably just going to play Cabal if he has it, steal one of your 2/3s, kill another one of your 2/3s, and then heal up some of the damage, and then you're stuck with a Wolf versus... You're stuck with a Wolf and a Cultist that's damaged against a Harvest Golem and a Cabal and a 4/6 that might get healed up further with Circle of Healing or Holy Nova. So you just want to get that off the board. Oh, there's the Orkanai. Now, we're going to see this Cabal come down definitely. I think it's going to steal the Harvest Golem. The Death Rattle matters more than the Taunt in this situation. You can steal it, and then maybe just play the Orkanai. Okay, he's just going to heal himself. He's saving the Orkanai for some sort of circle combo if he needs it. Oh, we've got a pretty bad top deck for Jonpii. Yeah, this is one of the problems with Shaman. Shaman has a habit of having a lot of early efficient cards, but the bad top decks later, whereas something like Paladin has a lot of inefficient early game cards, with the exception of things like Owlor, but then all of its early game is better late game, so you end up with less bad top decks possible. So yeah, this creeper is pretty pointless. Now he's gonna probably trade off this Cultist. He could play Flame Tongue, trade the Cultist. He did attack with the middle wolf though instead of the side wolf, and he's just noticed, yeah, he should have attacked with the side wolf. He's missed some damage. Yeah, as Birdy's just checking as well that he can't attack with this 4/3. Now, something to note here is that he played the Creeper after the trade because he wants the health boost from the Cultist to go on one of the Wolves or the Flame Tongue instead of the Creeper. So, very well played there. Wild Pyromancer would be a nice top deck. Oh, Shadow Madness, that is crazy. You can have the Holy Nova, Shadow Madness, and then clear both Wolves and the Flame Tongue. That is a huge top deck. Absolutely huge. One of the best situations for Shadow Madness. Well, I mean, apart from stealing the Cultist that Sylvanas got earlier and then running into something, getting your buff back, and killing 2 guys. That would be probably the better one. But that was one of the best cards he could have top decked. Just dealt with both Wolves and the Flame Tongue with only 2 cards. See, another terrible top deck coming off the top here, and he's kind of wishing that Ancestral Spirit was a Reincarnate right now. I mean, he is already playing double Reincarnate, but if that had been Reincarnate, I think he could have used it on the Egg, or on the Dark Cultist, or something like that, and it would have been very, very good. Now, slight mistake there from Birdy. He should have used the Hero Power on a 1/1, and then used the Harvest Golem on the 0/2. I think you probably should have just killed both 1/1s. Because you have Arcanized, you can clear totems pretty easily. The 1/1s are a bit more annoying. So you see, another bad top deck. Yeah, Jonpii's getting pretty unlucky with these top decks right now. Basically, both players are looking for Kel'Thuzad, as yet he has to hex this. He has no way of dealing with it. So both players are just looking for Kel'Thuzad right now. I think the Priest is in a situation where he doesn't need it to win. As we see, Thought Steal is one of the best top decks here besides Kel'Thuzad, and Sludge Belcher. Big Thought Steal. As we're just going to see absolute craziness coming out of the Sludge Belcher here. Are we going to see a good top deck? Oh, it's Kel'Thuzad. He should just slam the Kel'Thuzad and play Ancestral Spirit. I think if he does that, he has a chance at winning. he can still deal with the Kel'Thuzad that's got reincarnated, but it does take 2 cards and his Belcher to do it. So I would be very surprised if he doesn't just slam the Kel'Thuzad and then put the Spirit on it. Very surprised. Oh, he's toteming. I think this is a mistake. Wait, is he just not... He has to play the... Alright, I actually think that was a huge mistake on Jonpii's part. He should have played that Kel'Thuzad. Now, we do have a Kel'Thuzad from Birdy as well, who should also play it, because if he plays it, he wins the game, because there's a Sludge Belcher on the board. And he's also not playing it. I think both players are underestimating just how much of a board impact that card has. I think I definitely would have played it there. Are we going to see a Kel'Thuzad now? No. You don't need to be cute with the triggers, guys. Just play it. It's a 6/8. It is in fact a 6/8. It does not... You don't need to get value as soon as you play a 6/8. No one expects value from a Voldefist Ogre. As we... This is the problem. This Kel'Thuzad is basically win more, by the way. He's so far ahead at the moment that this Kel'Thuzad doesn't even matter. But in the case of Jonpii, it was a comeback strategy, and I think if he played it last turn, if Birdy or Jonpii had played it last turn, this game would look quite different at the moment. So I think that was a serious mistake at the end from both of them not playing their Kel'Thuzads. Besides that, though, the game was actually very, very good. There was a lot of good decision making in this game. But not playing the Kel'Thuzads, I think, was a mistake. From both players, they both made it. And to be honest, the set has only just fully come out, at least Naxxramas. So Kel'Thuzad has not been out for very long. They only had a couple, basically minutes, to think about what to do. They only had 30 minutes or so to figure out what they wanted to do with Kel'Thuzad, and they just decided to try it for the first series because, I mean, people want to see it, right? So... yeah, I don't think either of them really had enough time to figure out exactly what happens with Kel'Thuzad and exactly when you can play him, when you can get away with playing him, that kind of thing. So that would explain a lot about the end of that game. But anyway, the rest of the game was actually very, very good. A lot of good decision making, one of the better games we've seen in a long time. Now, Jonpii has brought out a Secrets Mage. This is actually very, very close to Sio's list. If you go on Hearthstone on the Mage section, it's under Mage. It's Sio's Secret Mage. Very, very close to that. This one's playing Ice Block. It's a very, very weird list. A lot of one-offs. Not the most consistent of lists, but it's very, very powerful at what it does. It's bad against Hunter, so I wouldn't play it on the ladder. But for tournaments and sort of for show match formats, it can actually be quite a big surprise. So I would not be surprised if this might steal a game from this priest deck, just from sheer shock factor. Other thing is Thought Steal's not the best against this deck. It has a lot of Thought Steals you really don't want to play, like Ethereal Arcanist and a lot of the secrets. You don't get full value from Kirantor, Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist and Kirantor, not the best Thought Steal targets. Fugan and Stalag. Well, Fugan is okay, he's a 4/7, that's actually really good for priest. But Stalag, you don't want a 7/4. So there's a lot of things you just don't want to Thought Steal. So it does make your Thought Steals less powerful. I'm not sure how this matchup works out though. I guess we'll find out. Alright, on to the mulligans. Now Birdy has the easiest mulligan ever. You just mulligan everything there. He's got a lot of low drops. Now, I would actually keep this Kirantor, I think. Because you might get a secret and then you can go Undertaker, Harvest Golem, Kirantor. But he is mulliganing it. I mean, he's played the deck more than I have, so maybe he doesn't feel confident trying to get a secret. Now he does have a crazy opening here with Undertaker and Mana Worm, but he doesn't have a turn 2 play followed up, which is a bit irritating. He does have a turn 3 though, and Birdy just has to kind of sit around and watch this happen, as he's going to take 3 for free here, or 4 actually, on turn 2. He does, however, have the ultimate aggro stop in the entire game in Dark Cultist. This Dark Cultist is going to do some work. He's just going to play it down, and that is a slam on the board on turn 3. That thing is way bigger than anything else right now. I was going to see this Harvest Golem come down, buff the Undertaker. I don't think he trades here. I don't think you can afford to trade. He's just going to go face. Now, what's this top deck going to be for Birdy? Wow. Oh, can I? Yeah, I was about to say he doesn't really have a good turn sort of foreplay, he would have sort of earthen ringed maybe his Dark Cultist, and that's just awkward. But here we have a crazy combination, using the circle combo to clear the board and buff his Orkanai with his own Cultist. One of the only ways of healing an Orkanai is with flat HP increases. So now we do have the Earthen Ring Farseer, which is really, really good at killing 4/3s. It just is. And it's a mirror entity, which you can then trade with. But I don't think you do. I think you just go face. Because if you trade with it, he pings it. If you don't trade with it, he's probably just going to attack and ping it anyway. So you might as well just go face and get some damage in. Yeah, I think that was a good play. Now, when it comes to Fugan versus Loatheb, I actually think in this situation, Fugan is stronger, I think. Actually, no, I think you're going first and you've seen Sylvanas. So maybe, yeah, I think you've seen Sylvanas, so playing Loatheb was better. And then saving Fugan for the next turn. I actually do think that playing Loatheb was a bit better there, just because you've already seen Sylvanas. Yeah, that's pretty much my entire reasoning. You've already seen Sylvanas, so you might as well play around it. Now, for this turn, it is this is just known as Awkward City. I think he actually has to go Undertaker and then Harvest Golem, because he has to sort of flood the board with ways that the Sylvanas cannot kill itself and can't steal anything of note if he Shadow Word Deaths it. I mean, he still has a couple things of note. He can steal Harvest Golem if he has Shadow Word Death. The main problem is if he has Cabal Shadow Priest. Is it Cabal Shadow Priest? Yeah, it is. If he has Cabal, then this is just really, really bad for Jonpii. But I think the thing he has to come to the conclusion of is, I can't beat a Cabal, so I can't play around it. Like, if he has it, I'm just dead. So he's not going to play around it, he's just going to go for it, and I think this is correct. Now, what do we got here? Shadow Word Death. Wow. Just wow. I think you actually kill the 2/3 and then Shadow Word Death your own Sylvanas. I mean, you could go for full board clear with Wild Pyromancer and Holy Nova. The problem is you lose your 5/5 if you do it this way. Yeah, you're gonna lose it to the trade. I think he's... Wait. Yeah, you're gonna lose it. Oh, he's just realized. Yeah, he didn't account for the damage on the Sylvanas. Slight mistake there. That is gonna cost him his Sylvanas. I think Shadow Word Deathing it and stealing out the Harvest Golem or the Fugan would have been better. Next turn, we do, however, have the empty board, but very powerful 6/8 coming down from Kel'Thuzad, showing that just because it doesn't have its effect active because nothing else is on the board does not mean it's bad. You just slam Kel'Thuzad. Yeah, that's the best play he could have got there from his deck, was Kel'Thuzad with that few cards. Well, that like amount of cards, only 4 cards in hand. Pretty good to play Kel'Thuzad on turn 8. He's going for the Arcane Intellect, hoping for a Frostbolt, and he doesn't get it. He does a Water Elemental, so that could stall this Kel'Thuzad for a bit. Shadow Word Pain. Wow, that is a huge draw, and he has exactly... Oh my god, and the Cultist. He has exactly enough mana to do what you wanted, and now he has a 6/10 with a Cultist on the board that cannot die. I think that's the end of the game. I don't see a way back from this. He needs Polymorph. Does he even play Polymorph? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think he plays Polymorph. I don't see a single way out of this. I think that's just the end of the game. I do not see a way out of this.
Mind if I roll
I really do not. Now that was Ice Block. There's a Holy Nova. He should actually play the Holy Nova first in case it's Counterspell. Okay, so if that was Counterspell, he would have been punished quite severely there, but he's just going to play the Loatheb. That is a ridiculous Kel'Thuzad. He's not attacking because there's no reason. He has Inevitability, and he really should not be playing into Vaporize. So there's no reason to attack, so why even risk it? This Cultist just came back and healed 3, and that Kel'Thuzad is getting completely unstoppable. A 6/13 is practically impossible to kill for a Mage. without Polymorph. Polymorph and Vaporize are the only ways of really killing a 613 for Mage, and he doesn't have access to either of them. So at this point, he's probably just going to play Kirantor and Mad Scientist, and then concede. There's no card draw he could possibly get to beat this Kel'Thuzad. This is where Kel'Thuzad is at its strongest, is in decks like Priest or Druid, where they can just abuse it. In the case of Druid, it's Innervate that abuses it. In the case of Priest, it's the fact that you can keep healing it and buffing it, and it just gets out of control. And if you can't kill the Kel'Thuzad, then, well, I mean, look at this board. This Kel'Thuzad is the biggest thing on the board, but something you got to realize is that the Loatheb and the Dark Cultist are both completely immortal at the moment. As it's not vaporized, so he's thinking, am I dead to anything? So what he's going to do is he's going to, yeah, this is the ice block, and he's going to actually probably heal himself here. Yeah, he's going to heal himself. The reason for healing himself is that if his opponent has double Fireball, he would actually be dead, because that's 19 damage with the ping. So he's just healing himself so he can't die. And that is the end of the game. There is no possible combination of cards that could help him here, apart from Doomsayer and Frost Nova. And that is it. So that's the end of the game. Pretty much a showcase of why a 6/8 that can get buffed and keeps reanimating things is so powerful. It only reanimated Cultist, but just reanimating Cultist and the fact that it's a 6/8 just ended the game. It got out of control. It really did. It just got out of control and gave him some board position with that Cultist again, and that's pretty much all it needs to do. As we see that he had to Flame Strike, and a note, just a random thing by the way, killing stuff on the board with Kel'Thuzad there does not stop damage because they come back with the ability to attack. So he doesn't actually stop any damage by doing that, and the BM Circle of Healing to finish out the game. Anyway, so that series was actually quite interesting. We saw 3 very interesting decks. We didn't have any stock lists coming out of this one. The Priest really did showcase sort of what Kel'Thuzad can do, and also Dark Cultist from last week, but we didn't see it that much. And we didn't have Dark Cultist last week for last week's episode because it was recorded before, so we do have a couple new cards, at least for this week's Versus series. We have the Dark Cultist, Mad Scientist, and it really has seemed that all of the super hyper powerful cards in Naxxramas were in the last 2 wings. We've got Kel'Thuzad, apart from Loatheb and Egg, maybe Baron Rivendare, depending on which way you look at it. Pretty much most of the hyper powerful stuff was in Wing 4 and 5. So we got Kel'Thuzad, Mad Scientist, Undertaker, and we had Loatheb from Wing 2 as well. But mostly we had stuff from Wing 4 and 5. And it's very, very interesting to see just how much things have changed since last week's episode, because we do have 2 new wings effectively. And it's really nice to see new decks coming out, because the flowing metagame is a good metagame as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback, put it in the comment section below. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Acebreakers is recruiting at the moment, so if you want to put in your application, if you're interested in joining, then I'll put the link to the thread in the description. As for now, this has been Jotto, signing off.